Is that luxury skein of yarn you've been eyeballing in your local yarn store really better? Or is it just better branded? Today we're breaking down what actually makes a yarn high quality and whether a higher price tag always tells the whole story. So if that sounds like just your cozy cup of tea, get comfy and let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to the Wool Needles Hands Knitting Podcast. My name is Tayler, and I will be your host. I get asked this question a lot, and that is, what makes a yarn a good yarn? Let's start with defining what we mean by good. And here's the truth. The good yarn is the right yarn for the job. That might mean it's soft enough for baby clothes, durable enough for socks, or lofty and light for a cozy shawl. Some of the things that define a yarn's quality include fiber content. Is it wool? Is it alpaca? Is it acrylic? The construction of the yarn. Is it plied or is it single ply? The spinning method that was used at the mill to produce the yarn. Is it woolen spun or worsted spun? And the evenness and strength of the yarn, and whether or not there are lots of knots keeping the yarn together. Now, some traditional spinning methods do incorporate knots in the yarn when new strands are added, but the number of knots is really what's going to indicate the quality of the yarn, not just the existence of a knot or two alone. And I think you can include in this as well, especially with the durability part of this, the susceptibility to pilling. Now, it is important to note that some yarns and some fibers are just going to pill no matter the quality of the yarn. For example, how much pilling a particular cashmere yarn produces in the fabric can be indicative of the quality of the cashmere. So pilling is something to consider, but some yarns are just going to pill regardless of where you get them. It is possible to have a lovely hand-dyed skein that pills after only 2 wears, while you also have really amazing budget yarn that is a durable workhorse and lasts you forever and can actually become an heirloom piece later in life. So really, good depends on what you need the yarn to do. Okay, so when you do pay more, what is it that you're actually paying for? The first thing that you're paying for is the fiber type. Cashmere, silk, extra fine merino. These are going to cost more because they're more rare and harder to produce. Acrylics, cottons, and basic wools are cheaper because they're easier to produce and more prevalent. The second thing you're paying for is the processing and the spinning of the yarn. A worsted spun yarn with sleek and consistent structure takes more time to process and typically costs more than a woolen spun yarn, which is much more rustic. A video on the differences between worsted spun and woolen spun yarns is coming very shortly. The next thing you're paying for is the dyeing and the sourcing. Indie dyers, especially those who work with small mills and breed specific fibers, put tons of labor and care into small batch yarns. And that's part of what you're supporting by sometimes a higher price tag. And I know this from experience, as that is how Fiber for the People operates as well. Finally, and this is a really big one, the last thing you're paying for here is the marketing and the branding of the product. Sometimes you are paying for the name on the label or the perfect packaging. Not always a bad thing, but it is absolutely worth noting. More expensive does not always mean better. I've used boutique yarns that looked perfect in the skein, but pilled and broke down way too fast considering the price tag. And I've knit sweaters from big box wool blends that have lasted years and still look great. I'm looking at you, Peyton's and Fisherman's Wool, 2 of my absolute favorite budget yarns. Sometimes a budget yarn outperforms a more expensive one because it's fit for the purpose more than the other. Or the price hike is just more about rarity more than the performance of the yarn. So if you've been hesitating to knit a sweater because you're waiting for that perfect yarn, knit it now and just use what works. And chances are what works isn't always the most expensive option. So how do you even decide what to buy? You match the yarn to the project. Splurge for garments, heirlooms, and things you're going to wear close to the skin. Chances are those yarns are going to be more expensive anyway, but these are for items that you plan on having around a long time or items that are probably not going to get as much wear. Save on test swatches, kids knits, home decor, and those pieces that are a little bit more trendy. Pay attention to the yarn reviews and the knitter's notes on Ravelry. People have a lot to say about the yarns they have actually used and worn with the projects that they've recently finished, and that firsthand experience in terms of reviews and notes is absolute gold. And if you're still not sure whether it's worth the splurge, try a mini project or a gauge swatch to see how the yarn performs and to make sure it's the right yarn for the job. Here's the bottom line. The good yarn is not always the most expensive yarn. It's simply the one that does what you need it to do and helps you enjoy the knitting process. Remove the notion that expensive means quality and go out there and start hunting down those really amazing budget yarns that are just as good at doing the job as some of the more expensive rustic yarns are, and I can actually help you with this. I have a video where I share a range of budgets for a variety of types of fiber. I am going to link to that playlist down below in the description box, and it's a great next place to go if this is something that is front of mind for you right now. So don't let price tags or hype stop you from casting on. Use what brings you joy, what fits your budget, and what suits your project. Let me know in the comments, what's a yarn that surprised you with its quality? I, for one, find that Fisherman's Wool by Lion Brand is a fabulous yarn if you want something that's more budget friendly but also very rustic and is 100% natural wool. If you would like to know more about my feelings about this, watch my Fraken Sweater Saga series. I will link to that one down below as well. It is kind of like a love note to Fisherman's Wool. I absolutely love it, and I feel the very same about Peyton's Classic Wool as well. Two really great options. Really good videos down in the description box. Also, tell us about some yarn that you splurged on but really didn't love it in the long run and why. We like to know this information, and it gives us insight into future purchases. Thank you guys for watching. Happy knitting, happy making, happy whatever it is that you're doing. Take care, be well, and I will see you soon. Bye.